All right, everybody, welcome back to the Leading to a Higher Altitude podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Snyder, the current IFC Vice President of Public Relations. Today, I'm joined by Nick Demonte and Jackson Morgan. Nick and Jackson, why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
So on, guys, my name is Nick Demonte. I am the member educator of SAE as well as the scholarship chairman.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Jackson Morgan. I'm the new member educator over at Lambda Chi Alpha.
All right. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about how your new member processes vary and how they're different from other chapters on campus. So without further ado, let's get into it. Can you give me a brief overview of what your new member process is like?
So for SAE, our new member process is probably one of the fastest processes on campus for initiating new members. We have what's called 365 recruitment. So we're constantly recruiting people where there's never a time where somebody else needs to wait for a certain period. This recruitment style allows us to have new members initiate into the fraternity as soon as 3 days or 72 hours, as soon as they get the bid on bid day. And then once accepted, we can begin our onboarding process for the new members with fun activities.
So over at Lambda Chi Alpha, we do our thing. It takes about a semester to go through the entire initiation process. So we start off on bid day where they get their bids. And then about a week after that, after they've reviewed some of their knowledge that is required that they learn, we have our brothers vote. And after that, they become associate members and they have the opportunity to go through an initiation process. So, like I said, it's about a semester-long endeavor. So a couple weeks is devoted to education and all that. And then we have a week for our ritual. And then that all leads up to our initiation, which is 1 day.
All right, so a little bit different sides of the spectrum there. We got a 3-day and a semester long. So kind of, Nicholas, you already touched on it, but does this process affect the way that you guys recruit? And if so, how does it affect it?
So, like you said, it's a different process. It has its ups and downs. One being it's very open. It's 365, so anybody can join at any time. However, not always will we get big numbers or small numbers. It's kind of in clumps. But what I will say is that with the process, the effectiveness of it, at least with 365, every time a member is elected as an official SAE member, it's different for each time. Like, for example, with my initiation class, there's 10 of us, and our recent 2024 initiation for the fall, we had 2 members. So like I said, it varies in clumps, but there's cons and pros to each advantage and disadvantages of each, member classes. Yeah,
I would agree that our new member classes, they kind of vary. So my class was 10 like yours, and then our last class was only 3. I would like to mention that we also do 365 recruitment, but ours is a little bit more of a complicated process. So we do allow brothers to become P&Ms at any point throughout the process, and they become AMs, but the main thing that sets them apart is to become a brother-elect. So we're always open to bringing new guys in, but we want to make sure that we want them to make sure that they know what our ritual means to us and how they can better understand our initiation process.
And then again, going off of that, how do you ensure the process is both educational in terms of chapter history as well as personal development?
So with SAE, we have what's called how-to documents, or otherwise known for the SAE brothers, the Phoenix Manual. So these are our ins and outs of how the chapter works, what's expected as soon as you start your onboarding, as well as tools, guides, how-to, PowerPoint setups, any mini lessons that need to be taught to the members. I reference the manual about 9 times out of 10 because most of the brothers forget things, as most humans do when you have to do all the paperwork stuff. But I often refer back to it because it really does help with our onboarding with new members and current members, with just re-education and just knowing how the chapter is supposed to be ran correctly and uniformly.
So for our education process, we do weekly meetings. They're called Kappa sessions. So that is where the new member educator, we call them the High Kappa. They sit down with their entire associate member class, and they basically just go through the required education. So there's a whole book that goes over what each session, what the information you're supposed to be covering, and the stuff that you need to talk about. And that can range from the history of Lambda Chi Alpha, the stuff about ritual, or it could just be basic stuff like how to tie a tie, or just stuff that is supposed to help you improve in your process of becoming a man.
So there's definitely the two sides of keeping your chapter's history going and making sure that the associate members appreciate that, as well as that personal development and making sure that you're making them as good as possible for for when they get the chance to run the chapter and they know what they're doing and that type of thing. So that's awesome to hear. What would you say is the most significant difference in your process compared to others?
So, like I said earlier, with 365, we like to initiate our brothers as soon as possible. But with the significant difference compared to other, I would say the lessons we give. So, when I was first initiated, our lessons were more kind of formal. Like after chapter, we'd sit down, learn about the history of SAE. It was more of like a classroom style effect versus now with our brothers currently, I'm making it more fun and interactive. Recently, I had them interview our brothers, at least the new members, interview our brothers on like their personal life as well as other events going on in their life. So it's not as like strictly or like, oh, you need to have this done or you need to get that done by this day. It's more of like a get to know these people. These guys won't be here for long, but you still get to know them as your chapter's developing. So it also kind of gives them an outlook of what questions they should ask the future members of what they want to see from the chapter going forward.
Yeah, so obviously I can't really speak on other chapters' processes, but I think personally that the Lambda Chi process is a very emotionally in touch one. I'm not really sure if this is unique to our chapter, but our initiation process is completely dry, so we do not have any intoxication of any sorts. And we think that really kind of puts more emphasis on like the ritual part of it, so we want to make sure that they remember this ritual and it's engraved in their heads. It's a very powerful experience for them. Some guys get emotional, some guys get angry. It's different for everyone, but it's really a way for them to really think about themselves and where they're going in their lives.
And our last question, what is one thing that happened during your new member process that carried over and made you maybe like think differently about the chapter?
So with SAE, like I said earlier, with the brother interviews, that's been going on since I was first initiated. And I like those interviews because they showed us like, okay, let's learn about SAE, but let's learn about your brothers and why they joined SAE. What got them to get to that point of they want to be a part of this community or with their fellow true gentlemen, as we call them. So I like probably the brother interviews the most about, that's what stuck with me the most about the member ed process, just getting to know them on a personal level rather than a formality level.
So with Lambda Chi, I would definitely say that the history really stuck with me, learning about all the different brothers and how our history is so deep rooted. I mean, I think we're coming at around 112 years, so if my math is right. It's probably wrong. But yeah, just like learning about the history and how we haven't changed. I mean, obviously things have changed, but we haven't really changed the basic ideas since 1913. And just knowing that there are thousands of brothers that have gone through that exact process that you're going through right now, it really opens up your eyes to the whole experience.
Yeah, I think both the interviews and the chapter history speak strongly to kind of like the if it's not broke, don't fix it mentality. Like those two things, we also do interviews and we teach them a lot, and we've all learned all of that information and gone through the same thing, and it's clearly been working out. So thank you guys for sitting down with me for this episode of the podcast, and I will catch you guys on the next one. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Leading to a Higher Altitude podcast. I am your host, Jacob Snyder, the current IFC Vice President of Public Relations. Today, I am joined by Will Short and Anjay Dhir. Will and Anjay, why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
I'm Anjay Dhir. I'm a member of Phi Gamma Delta, and this past semester, I was pledge class president.
Hi, my name's Will Short. I'm a pledge for Sigma Chi, and I am the philanthropy chair.
All right. Thank you guys for introducing yourselves. We're just going to hop right into it. What motivated you to join a fraternity, and what motivates you now to stay within your organization?
I'd say that what motivated me to join a fraternity would be the social aspect, networking, being around in an environment where everyone is like-minded. And when I was getting recruited, I went to the table and I met some of the guys, and I realized that they were all people that I wanted to be around. So being in a group where I'd be around these like-minded people was a huge point for me to join.
I wasn't really looking at rushing when I got to Riddle, and I just kind of went through like during the club fair and was like looking at some of the different fraternities. And the one that really stuck out to me was Sigma Chi. I noticed we shared a lot of the same values, and I really enjoyed that about like the guys hanging out with them. That I could tell that they wanted my like success. Like that was like the main priority. And then we talked more, and they sold more on the connections, and I really liked that. Like for my future is like not just the 4 years I'm gonna be in the fraternity. Like I'm gonna be in my whole life. Like I can get a job and I can have so many connections throughout my life that's gonna make me a more successful person. And all of these guys are gonna be helping me become successful, share the same values, and like are the like-minded people. So I really, really like appreciated that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, the like-mindedness is what makes each chapter unique, aside from the ritual, of course. But you're not just joining a group of guys and paying money. You're joining people that seem like have been your best friends for 5-10 years. And I think that's something really unique about rushing and all that. On to the next question. Have you learned anything about yourself that you didn't know prior to joining a fraternity?
One main thing I've learned is like taking on positions, like especially my pledge class, has just kind of showed me that like I thought I had strong leadership skills before, and then like they've gotten way stronger throughout like my process or whatever. And learning like making connections through like with Damiano and IFC, and like meeting people that are higher up to help get things done for like the philanthropy like projects that we have. Like with the dunk tank, I needed to get a lot of connections and get like trained to do different things and like think of all the outcomes, really strengthen my leadership skills to the point where I didn't really know I like had those. Like I believe I was a strong leader before, but they've really sharpened them and continued like to get better as I've gone. And I've had the support through everybody. Like all of the brothers help and support me with everything I need. And if I need help, like they immediately take me to the right person I need to. And it's just very helpful to have those skills to like learn that like if you need help, like instantly communicate it. Like don't just think like don't wait till the problem gets like is too long and it's like it ruins your everything, to where it's like point is I'm falling behind, like instantly reach out to someone. And the communication skills have also gotten better, and that's a part of being a good leader and part of the sharpening the skills.
For me, I'd say being in charge of people and like being able to organize events and networking, getting those connections for how we're going to actually run those events was a big thing for me. And I think more importantly, asking for help, being able to delegate the work that we were given, figure it out with my brothers, and find the resources and the correct people to help us succeed in those events was a large thing that helped me a lot, because usually I wouldn't go and ask for help, but I learned that when the task at hand is quite large, it is always good to go and get help.
There's two great answers. I'll personally say I struggle with asking people for help when I need it, but I have learned that when you do, it makes the task at hand just so much easier. And like Will said, sharpening your leadership skills, that's what we're all here for. That's what we all strive for every day, being in the IFC community. So it was good to hear. Can you talk about a challenge you faced while going through the process, and how did you overcome it?
I think the biggest challenge for me was time management. Being a first semester freshman and joining a fraternity, joining clubs, and obviously with the course load of being an engineer, it was interesting how to manage classes, homework, projects, and on top of that, fraternity life. But I think I learned that with everything going on and with the time you have to be really efficient in what you're doing and how you're doing things, and not procrastinating on tasks. And that's really helped me, because beforehand I would procrastinate, but now any free time I have, I try to be as productive as possible, because I know that I have a lot to do throughout the entire week.
I would 100% agree with the time management. I feel like in every chapter, and I still believe like probably in every chapter that the brothers even struggle with time management, but we all learn from each other, and we're all like, especially as a pledge, I've learned how to manage my time better, and how like it goes back to like the asking for help, like, oh man, I don't have time for this, like can we maybe reschedule? And people will respect you more than just completely missing something or being late. But if you have the time management issues, like you can go to anyone in the chapter, even your pledge brothers, and like ask them like, hey, how do you do time management? And everyone has their own little thing, and you can possibly like take it back and like learn from everyone's thing. So I just really like the time management is a huge thing, because you feel like you're in a really good position, and then you have some more extra things to do, and you're like, oh, like I got this, and then the week goes on, it kind of bears on you with tests or whatever, but no matter what, you get through it, and you can just ask for help, and they understand if you need help, and even like your teachers like appreciate when you go to them asking them like, hey, I'm kind of struggling, I'm a little bit busy, and they completely understand and might give you a break for it. And because if you're just honest with them, like you do have this time management issue, everyone understands, because everyone has time management issues in their life, and the only way you're gonna get better at them is putting yourself under pressure and struggling with it, and you figuring it out. So I mean, the time management's been a big thing, but I've definitely learned on different ways that I personally can overcome it.
Yeah, I will say time management isn't something that you get down and you're fine for the rest of your life. As your leadership journey continues, as you take on higher positions, it brings with it more time management tasks. But learning how to do it early on and then kind of applying that later on, like something I've learned is when I'm on campus, I'm in work mode from the time I step foot on campus to the time that I leave. And then when I'm at home, I try to relax as much as possible so that I'm not overwhelmed all the time. And I ran into the problem of like just constantly stressing out when I have been working hard and doing X, Y, Z. So kind of having that work-life balance has helped me a lot, like with my stress levels, but then also just committing myself to when I'm on campus, just getting my work done and not really like just sitting around doing nothing. Like if I have time and I'm in an office like this office and it's quiet, like I'm getting work done, and that's helped me out greatly.
I think one other challenge I faced was communication with my brothers as a new member class. It was really hard at first to find a time where we all could meet, but once we started figuring out a certain time, every brother made it their priority to be there and to show up, even though they might have been busy, because they all use their time management skills, and they put their priorities towards the fraternity.
Yeah, I think we all kind of run into that issue as well of kind of prioritizing our responsibilities. At some point, there's going to be events that overlap, and you kind of just got to pick which one either means the most to you or you mean the most to, and prioritize that one. So definitely feel you on that. And our last question is, do you have any advice for anyone who might be hesitant about joining a fraternity?
My advice to anyone rushing a fraternity is kind of ignore the bad stigma that is put onto the word fraternity. Here at Embry-Riddle, we have something very special and different that is not like anywhere else. I was when you hear the word like frat, it's like really bad. Like I feel like instantly I think of like, oh, you see on the news, like all this bad stuff, but it's just absolutely not that here. Here it's more of your success. Like Sigma Chi pushes me to be a better person and is like wanting my best for my future. And it's more on the values and education of the fraternity than it is like doing like crazy stuff you see on the news at other schools and everything. It's completely not that here. And I feel like it's been, even through pledgeship, it's one of the like amazing decision I've made, because I've worked on myself to become a better person, and it's definitely going to be lessons and I'll take for the rest of my life. So don't let that like the news, the media, or what other people's opinions like persuade your decision of joining a fraternity based on like the negative. Like whenever you like, especially as a pledge, you'll see my pledge pin and people will be like, "Oh my gosh, I cannot believe you're like joining a fraternity and all this stuff." And it's like, no, like I have to sit there. I will sit there and I will educate them. Like that's just not what I'm joining. I'm joining a brotherhood who is pushing me to be like who I am and trying to get me out of like my comfort zone to be a better person. And we all share the same values, and it's just not what everyone think it is. And like even teachers will like look at me differently. Like when I wear my pledge pin, that this like he doesn't care, he's to be here, but like I'm showing them that I do want to be here. I will work harder than everyone here, because I share the values of like hard working with everything with my brothers, and to not just judge someone on their pin or their like letters when they get like to be a brother. For like when the brothers wear the letters, like it shows something instead of showing like a negative. We've especially made it here to show a positive, and like I try to run events like, for example, with like the dunk tank, I try to make that to where it goes for everyone. Like it's a community event. It's not just like, oh, the scary frat guys. Like that's not what it is at all. We at the Dunk Tank, we're getting the community to donate money to Huntsman Cancer Research, and it's an amazing organization. We really focus on like our philanthropy and being better people and like being leaders of men to like everyone in the community, not just people who are in IFC. So I definitely think like if you want to be something like that's greater than you and like join something that's like means a lot and will help you in your career in a positive way, I really think you should consider like rushing a fraternity.
Personally, if you're hesitant, I think what you should do is you should go to an event, try it out, and talk to some of the brothers. I agree that there is this bad stigma of fraternity and fraternity lives, but if you talk to a brother, you have a one-on-one conversation or maybe even a group conversation with them, you'll realize that specifically here at Embry-Riddle, it's really different. The culture is different. The guys really do care about you. They want you to succeed, and they are always looking out for you. Even before I joined a fraternity, some of the guys I had conversations with were always saying hi to me in public, always asking me what I was up to, where I was going, and every now and then would even get lunch with me. Specifically here at Embry-Riddle, for a student that may think there is not leadership opportunities available, I think that the fraternity and sorority life offers a lot of various avenues for leadership roles that you can take, whether it be a committee head or be outreach. There's numerous areas where you can take on that role and build your leadership roles, whereas in other schools you may not be able to do such a thing.
Another thing that might be holding you back is your parents. I personally called my parents and told them that I was interested in rushing, and I was very fortunate, and my parents were very supportive of me. But a lot of like the first question my mom had for me was, well, you better not let your grades slip. And I was like, no, Mom, like I won't. These guys really care about my success. And for an example, we have study hours we are have to go to and everything, and my grades have gone up since I've been pledging a fraternity, and it's like that shows you how different it is here at Embry-Riddle, that like whenever you have a conflict, it's like that you can't make a meeting or an education. It's, oh, hey, I have a flight block or I have this. They are like, good luck. Do you have any questions like about your like the content you're going over in your flight block? Like the brothers are there to help you. And I had some issues during my flight block that I had problems with, and one of the brothers was there instantly to help me. As soon as I went to him for I had an issue, and I was like, hey, like this is what I'm going through right now. And he's like, oh, like I'll be in there to help tutor you and everything. It was amazing. Like it was a great like connection I had, and it just goes back to like the communication thing. I've just learned so many amazing skills that like these guys are there for me. My grades are going up. It's only been positive things that I've learned while pledging a fraternity. I'm still a pledge. I have not been initiated like if and when like if I become a brother, like those connections are only going to expand and grow, and it's just going to be an amazing for my future. And as a man, I'm going to be a way better person.
To add on, I think it is super helpful to be around people that have taken the courses, brothers that have taken the courses you have taken, know the professors. Some are actually very close to the professors. So personally, when I was struggling in some of my classes, my brothers were there to help me. They were able to tell me what style of what type of style a professor teaches in. And they've also helped me a lot with like picking out my new classes, because they've been through some of those classes. And for them being close with professors, it helped me. It opened up opportunities for me to actually have conversations with some of my professors. And the fact that I know someone that a professor is close to, a brother, it really helped me out, because now the professor also looks at me and trusts me, and it gives me more opportunities that he may give to other people.
Yeah, just to kind of sum all that up, those are the main points of what fraternity life aims to do. We give you a bunch of chances to become a leader, whether it be committee chairs, exec board, IFC exec, Order of Omega is like coming back right now. There's just so many opportunities that if you show that you really care and you like are somewhat qualified for the position and can execute it well, there's a very high chance that you will get a leadership position and people will look up to you one day, so that when the new guys come in, you can shepherd them to the same journey that you were on. Yeah, and then to Will's point with parents and potentially other people looking at you a bit differently when you like put the pledge pin on or tell somebody that you're joining a fraternity. I went through the same thing my freshman year. Like my friends from back home, they're like, "Oh, like why are you doing that? Like seems kind of weird." But like Will said again, like, you just have to educate them. You got to tell them that it's not what you see in Animal House or what you hear about these big state schools. Like we're Embry-Riddle. Like we're here to get mostly government jobs. Like we're not going to chance any of that for risking the rest of our lives and career just for a fraternity. Like that's not going to happen. We use our fraternity to make us better people. All right. Thank you guys for sitting down with me tonight and getting this podcast recorded. And for everybody listening, I will see you on the next one.